Oy vey. So, this topic is going to be on twin flames. I'm going to try to make it short, sweet, and to the point. I am trying to work at the same time. But Spirit asked me to come on and give a small talk concerning twin flames. Other people call it soulmates, but twin flames are a little bit different. Soulmates, even though I use the word or term interchangeably, they're more like a soulmate. You can have some affinity to the person. You can get along with them really well. And of course, you can fall in love at first sight. But twin flame is different in that literally, at least in the metaphysical side of things, the spiritual community, we all believe that we signed a contract with our twin flame. And as such, before coming into the birth canal, we either remember or we remember at a later time, or we are spontaneously connected to this person as soon as we meet them. And it could be at first gaze, it could be the first time you hear their voice, but you know this person, and they know you. If they've awoken, they really do know that they know you and they know who you are. If they're unawakened, oh my gosh, it can cause so many complications. So let's go with the unawakened. On the unawakened side, there can be a lot of denial. There can be a lot of fighting the connection, a lot of confusion, a lot of, I don't even know why I'm connected to this person, or I don't even know why I feel this way towards this person. Now, you can have two kinds of twin flames that are unaware. One that is never going to be aware, is never going to open up to you, is never going to see you for who you really are to them, is never going to remember. And then you have the second one. If you're lucky, they will do the work on themselves. They will take in what you've told them or whatever they can find out about twin flame journeys, and they will try to, ow, I'm having a pain. They will try to, sorry, wardrobe malfunction. They will try their best to figure things out. They may even ask you questions like, how do you know we're twin flames? Or how do you know about twin flame journeys? Or how do I get a hold of information so that I can read on it? Or, yeah, I know I feel something I can't explain or express, or it kind of freaks me out because I've never felt this strongly towards anybody. And it could be, and I'm saying this as a twin flame to someone, so I'm quite aware. I love it. They're holding hands. I love to see older couples still so in love that they're holding hands. Here's the raw end of it, okay? The realness of it. Twin flames, either he's gonna be older or she's gonna be older. And it's gonna be at least 10 years or more in age of the difference. I'm not exactly sure why God does it that way. It's not only the female that's older, but the majority of the time the female is the one that's older by everything that I've been able to ascertain, read, and research. It's mostly the female that is the older one. I don't know. I think that, don't shoot me. Don't shoot the messenger. I think it's because, in essence, more over than not, the female tends to mature faster than the male in the human species. I don't know why. It's not all the time, but the majority of the time, the female will have more wisdom at a younger age, more maturity at a younger age than a male. I don't know why. But it might be because of that, or it just might be that for whatever reason, Creator believes that it's his best interest that the feminine comes before the masculine. I took off my seatbelt. I'm in a parking lot. I'm not exactly sure because I don't remember having that conversation with him, so I can't give you a concise answer. Okay. nonetheless, I do know that that's just the way it is. And sometimes it's the male, and they can even be up to 30 or 35, 40 years older than the female. Yeah, so for me, I don't know why I feel like sitting this way, like as if I'm in my living room. For me, it's a 12-year difference, and I don't really feel it when I'm with him. I don't really think about it. It doesn't even come to play. Um, but it is a startling reality that that's just the way it is. The other thing is, if the person is willing to learn, if is willing to do the research, and maybe be able to put the puzzle pieces together where they go without taking, I always say, don't take the puzzle piece and tear the piece off to make it fit, because I'm going to be honest, that's what gets these people that are your twin flames. And it could be a male or female, and it could be two males or two females. God is in charge, no one. So nonetheless, that's what they've been trying to do, which has gotten them in trouble to begin with the muggle. I say muggle because I don't know what else to say. If I say non-magical, people are like, oh, she's a witch. If I say, non-chosen one, you may not know what that is. So, Harry Potter, whatever. The muggle. They've been trying to be one with the muggle. And the muggle doesn't have the magical or spiritual or gifts that from spirit that you have. So a lot of the things are not going to be in affinity with them. They're not going to fit like that puzzle piece that I'm talking about. That doesn't have to be torn. So with the muggle, they have to tear the puzzle piece to try to make it fit, and then it keeps on wanting to flip out because it doesn't fit in there. So it keeps on trying to flip out of place, and then they put the Gorilla Glue on it, and it lasts for a couple of years, and then they have to, until they chuck it or they don't. And that's the other thing, is that what I have found on a personal level is that my twin flame has the feeling of sense of responsibility to the muggle. And even though the muggle and my twin flame do not get along and don't have a beautiful life together, sentiments, emotions, connectivity, they feel a sense of, I guess, duty. I don't know. But they're never going to be happy, not because I don't want it that way, but because it's not meant to be that way. So I'm just using it as an example. When you have a twin flame, you know it. The instant you meet them, you're like, I know you. I know I just met you, but I know you. My soul knows you. And the reason is because Creator puts a soul that is split in half. I always, look at it like a butterfly, right? Because a butterfly is split in half, and the half is put into him, the masculine, and the other half is put into the feminine. It's one soul. That's why it's called a twin soul mate. And lifetime, you're meant to achieve things. For some, it's raising all this money so they can give to charity. For others, it's actually having money that they give to charities, or lending time, or whatever you're into, right? But it's to give back to humanity. It's to help one another to grow. It's to help one another to achieve things. It's to be their yin or yang. And God, I know I'm not expressing myself the best, but this was an improv, and he just threw it in my lap. Go for it, swim, like my dad, swim. Like, I don't know how to swim. But mostly there's an affinity to that person, that inner knowing that you're like, I know him, I know her. It's undeniable. And even when they piss you off so badly and you want to hate them, you can't seem to. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to forgive their shortcomings, their actions, right? You try to forgive the person, but not the actions. The actions need to change. But you're serving as a mirror to them as well, and they're serving as a mirror to you. So, again, trying not to be too personal, but trying to use myself as an example. For me, I believe I'm a mirror for my twin flame because although super intelligent, and yeah, the phone is unblocked, unable to use his emotional intelligence either through choice or through childhood issues that have not been healed and not been looked at. And for me, serving as a mirror to, I thought I loved myself. I guess I didn't love myself as much as I thought. I've never put myself first until this year. I never really put myself first before everybody else. I was a very young parent, so of course I put them first before anything. I educated myself afterwards. Most people think that, by the way, FYI, most people think they're just a stupid tarot reader. No, actually, a lot of us have degrees and have certifications and have careers. And believe it or not, the calling, because they call themselves the chosen ones. I call myself a light worker and empath. Um, we know who we are, and we have that inner knowing. That pulling is so intense that we are so happy doing this work, trying to help humanity. Even if it's just with an answer, or here he comes, or here she comes, it's still some form of help. But mostly, hopefully, to grow spiritually, to help you grow spiritually. Towards your ascendance, right? Because our ultimate goal, nonetheless, regardless of what anybody thinks, hopefully you don't have a fear of mortality. But nonetheless, that's what we're here for, is to get to the end game. And for me and a lot of spiritual workers, our end game is going back home and reporting, like you go to work, and at the end of the day, like if you're a nurse on a ward in a hospital, whatever, then you end up reporting at the end of the day on knows what's going on. That's what we're going to do when we go back home. But back to what I was saying. So we're serving as a mirror to each other. And maybe I didn't have enough self-confidence. I was a battered wife when I was much younger. And it kind of kicks the confidence out of you, even if you were born with confidence. And I was very spunky, but it kind of kicks it out of you. So I learned to love myself. I learned to stand up for myself because I didn't have a voice. I was very wishy-washy. I had boundaries, but they should have never even been there because, truth be known, I never upheld them. So that's what my twin flame has taught me, is to set boundaries, to stick to the boundaries, to love myself, show myself love, and love myself enough to want to be by myself and love it. And I actually do love my own company. And actually, sometimes when I watch my videos, y'all may differ in opinion, but I actually laugh at myself a lot because sometimes the videos are stupid in that they make me laugh, or I meant to say something that was a joke and it makes me laugh. So I'm enjoying what I'm doing. But I don't think this would have been possible without my twin flame. And so I have to give credit where credit is due, but that's what twin flames do. So towards him, I know I make him feel comfortable. I want him to heal. I want him to be happy, even if it's without me, but I want him to be happy, but I want him to be steadfast and not be wishy-washy. I want him to stick to something and do it, but I want him to be healthy and happy, both physical health and emotional, because that's how much I love him. So with or without, being with me, I still want for him to be happy, emotionally, intelligent, as well as intelligent intellectually as he is. So again, and to heal that inner wound, that inner childhood wound, because a lot of us that are and I'm going to go a little further, for those that are spiritual workers, light workers, chosen ones, empaths, clairvoyants, star seeds, man, as an indigo, I just thought I had a fucked up life. I thought, oh my God, every time I turn around, I have an issue. There's nothing going right, chip on her shoulder, girl. But when I found out, through a lot of counseling, that I got to know myself, that really, generally speaking, I was in a dysfunctional family unit, and I separated myself from them, and I've been estranged from them for over 30 years time now, I started to heal, and I started to realize that these people were the reason, the cause of my insane behavior or insane life. So again, I've done that work, but he hasn't done the work, so he doesn't understand that even though we love who we were born with, into family wise, we can love them. I still love my siblings, even though they're rotten to the core, but I still love them. But that doesn't mean they're good for me, so I stay away. Um, because they can want things for me that are not good for me. Okay? And when we love people, we tend to follow their lead instead of being our own man or woman. So again, serving as a mirror, that is a big issue with twin flames. You serve as a mirror. And the mirror is to make you better, to create within you a whole new person that is stronger. Almost like the Bionic Woman. Remember that series, The Bionic Man and the Bionic Woman? We will rebuild you. The $6 million man. But seriously, we are here serving as mirrors. What is your deepest part of you? Is it abandonment issues? What is the deepest part? Is it abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse, mental abuse, um physical abuse? I think is horrible, but mental and verbal abuse is just as bad, right? So what are you mirroring back to that person in order for them to see it and heal through it and from it? You've got to experience whatever it is that you're feeling on the inside. You've got to go with that and not deny it. Not, what did my twin flame say? Something about boxes, putting it all in boxes. That it would take many, many years in therapy. Well, I told him, that's because therapy, meaning a lot of us wear a mask to the world. But with your twin flame, you should not have to wear a mask. You should be able to show who you really are. They should accept you for the way you are. And I think, if anything, you should feel very safe with your twin flame, because part of your soul is inside of them and vice versa. So those are the things that I wanted to touch on. Now, the sex, which is something they talk about greatly as well, is that it's off the chart. Um, I don't know. It almost feels like I don't know, a combustion of euphoria, and it's every cell in your body is a lit, it's a light. It's a phenomenal thing. So a lot of times when the twin flame that you're with, when you meet each other, and they don't know about twin flames, they think it's a sexual thing. They think that they're just extremely intoxicated with you sexually, and that's all it is. So they have no idea anything that has to do with twin flames, because maybe they're not on the metaphysical side, maybe they're not on the spiritual side, maybe they're on the religious side. But what people don't tend to understand is there's a huge difference, and almost like a dividing wall between religion and spirituality. Why? Because spirituality is the feeling, the sensation, and the expression, and the knowing that there is, oh my God, I want to cry, knowing that there is a supernatural being that is above you and created you, and everything that's encompassing all around you, including yourself, and of course the arcs and everything else, the principalities, etc. The earth, the trees, the flowers, the plants, whatever you want to call it, right? But then there's the religion, is the following of the credo or following of the precepts, or the what people call dharma, right? Their dharma. And so it's quite different, because it's not necessarily, you don't necessarily have to have a connection with your creator. You don't have to necessarily have a connection with, who y'all call Jesus or Christ, who I call source. You don't have to. Religion doesn't give you that. It's just a following of regulations, rules, precepts, right? But when you have that connection with your religion, if you will, and with the spiritual part of all of that, and what that means, it's a beautiful thing, and also mutually exclusively an individual thing. You cannot you can share verbally as much as you want with someone, but until you actually have it for yourself, you don't know what it is. You just have like a definition, but you don't have the actual experience, if that makes sense. So I understand that it's a confusing issue, and then the runner and the chaser dynamics, and that's really hard. And I've been the for the first 3 years, I was the chaser because I could see the relationship. I had the remembrance. I knew who he was. I remembered, certain parts of, countries and everything else in my life, and who we were to each other and everything else. And having had a marriage in a prior life, of course, um, me remembering all of that, I want to chase the relationship because that's, in my feeling, that's mine. It should belong to me in another life. So of course, meeting again and knowing who that person is to me, that's a great pulling towards that person. So of course, I was the chaser, and now I'm doing nothing. I'm just stand. If they grow up, if they catch up, if they're able to, maybe, I don't know, look into things, because I keep dropping hints. I keep saying, this, that, or the other, that maybe they will catch a clue and actually do some of the work for themselves. Um, but it is a difficult thing. And I shared this in one video. I'll share it briefly here. In a podcast that I was listening to about twin flames, um, the one lady that came on, she was like, yeah, I know who he is. He knows who I am. And I'm, she said, we're both married, and we stay away from each other, but we know who one the other is to one another. And it's a great pulling. And here I'm going to, great segue, telepathically, mother plucker, man, you can hear them when they're calling you. It's like, just imagine the siren song, right? When they say about the mermaids, you can hear it. Yeah, you can hear them. I can hear you, by the way, DS. And the issue is not that I can't hear, it's that whatever they're offering is not ready. That pot is still, whatever's in the ingredients is still needing to cook till it's cooked. But so you can hear them. You can feel them when they're sexually, again, this is not PG, but at the same time, we're not 18 and under. So please, if you're not 18 and over, please go away. This is not your channel. Sexually, you can feel it when they're hungering for you, and vice versa. So then we go to the next person, and that person, she would cry because when she met her twin flame, she was married, and her husband allowed her to go on that twin flame journey. Wrong answer, and he thought he could handle her going off with a twin flame for a weekend and doing their thing. No. And everything was just gonna be hunky-dory. Yeah. So then when she wanted to divorce him, because obviously she felt that it's an intense connection to her twin flame, with reason, the husband begged and whatever, and so she ended up staying, and instead of divorcing, she says she sneaks around to see her twin flame, which is such a travesty. It's so horrible that you'd have to muddy it that way, that you'd have to murk it up that way, when it's something so sacred, because both of you, bought into this arrangement prior to incarnating here on earth, prior to the mission, prior to even coming through the birth canal. You signed on the dotted line or took an oath in front of Creator. So there's a spiritual contract. Look it up. That's what we call it, a spiritual contract. It's all over the internet. And God, you're connected through your silver cord. So, like, for example, when mine is going through shit, which he often is, I can feel when he's sad, when he's depressed, everything. So you're part of him, and he's part of you, or if you're same sex, whatever, you're part of each other, whether you like it or not. And I'll just say one thing. I'll say one thing. The lady talked about was always mourning for her twin flame, so she would go see him on the sly. And I think that's so sad, to appease a muggle. Yeah, I'm not saying ruin their lives, I'm not saying abuse them, I'm not saying hurt their sentiments, but I am saying gently tell them it's not working and this is not what I want and this is not good for me. I understand that we had, a union, and I adhered to that union while I was in the union, but now I'm deciding to sever the union because I'm not feeling what you feel. And that's it. Two mature adults, right? Um, the issue is that if you're like me, I'm going to let it go, meaning I'm not going to keep pursuing and saying, look, this is who I am. Remember me? Remember you signed on the dotted line? Yeah. Remember me? Your twin flame party using? Yeah. Remember? Yeah. I'm here. I'm not going to say all that shit. I'm not. I refuse to, because you should recognize me. You should know well enough, and you should be mature enough. But if you're not, that's cool. But I will tell you something. Even though I will not pursue my twin flame, I will not be the chaser anymore. I will not even give it a thought. But when I go meet my maker, I'm going to make sure to tell him that when, my twin flame gets home, oh yeah, he's gonna have to receive a good stern talking to, because you know that's what you call a fallen angel, by the way. We have specific missions that we come here with, and it's a segue, but just to give you the second part of what a twin flame does, we're here in conjunction with each other to finish something, to accomplish something very, very beautiful for humanity. So when he reneges or she reneges on that spiritual contract as a twin flame, they're not doing what Creator wants from them or asked of them before they came. Got with a muggle, they started accumulating wealth or doing whatever for themselves, making babies or whatever, and they decided to do their own thing. And so that is one thing that I am asking Creator for, that the day that I go back home and the day that my twin flame goes back home, I do want to sit down with my twin flame and have a talk and say, yeah, buddy, you blew it. You blew it. What happened? It's like, have you ever seen, like when you're in a basketball team and you're right next to the basket and you're a short relay away from making a basket, and your team player, a player on your team is like looking around. You're like, hey, I'm over here. And they're doing everything else. They're throwing it person the farther from the net that they can, instead of doing it, the short way, easy way, and throwing it to you. So sit down. I'd love to have the opportunity, when I get back home to heaven, and have the opportunity to talk to my twin flame and say, why did you choose to stay in darkness? Why did you choose to fall? Why? Because you have to understand, people. I'm giving you the twin journey and then some. So 2.0. Part of it is like, well, you're a fallen angel. Why would you not follow through with what Creator's orders were? I mean, I'm supposed to be the non-Christian. I was a Christian at the last portion. What excuse do you have? Because apparently you're a Christian. So why didn't you adhere to what Creator wanted for you and why He brought you down here to begin with? So can you finish your mission? Yes, your portion of your mission you can accomplish while you're here, as part of the twin flame. But then it kind of changes to where it's something smaller, something more doable between only one person, right? Um, and since they don't really adhere to the rules, then that means that since they reneged, you can marry someone else as well and try to live happily, or you can choose to be by yourself as a twin flame. You can choose to be by yourself and live your life out that way as well. They can choose to stay with the muggle that they married. I'm sorry, guys, I really don't have if I say non-magical and you're a Christian, you're like, oh my God, she's a witch. So I just choose to say muggle, a non-magical person, and a person without gifts. And you can tell, I promise you can tell you're with a muggle because they're so superficial. Everything is a me thing, and then unfortunately you are what you hang with, so you become like them in the end. and pick up all their negative traits and attributes. But yeah, that is the twin flame journey, is for each other, no matter how how distant you are from one another. It's like a beacon, like a little beacon that goes off, and you can hear it, you can see it, and you can feel that beacon. That person is beckoning for you to come near, because they want to be near you. They feel it too. Denial. Oh, well, I mean, like I said, I can deny it all they want. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. But I just thought I'd give you a little more insight on what a twin flame is. It's not by far when they don't know who you are. They don't accept something that's supernatural, which is amazing to me as well, because they don't want to admit that there's a supernatural connection between you two, but then they claim that they believe in a supernatural God, a supernatural being that created them, as well as the earth and everything in it, and all the planets, the universe, the multiverse, the inner and outer verses. It's like, well, microverses, microcosmos. Then how is it that you don't believe that there could be a supernatural being just like you are, but you're using your powers for the wrong, because you're just trying to be all, keeping up with the Jones and shit? How do you not believe then that you have someone here that is your, not your, just your soul tribe, but is from your actual tribe, your actual spiritual family from heaven here on earth? Again, that song is very, very loud. That beacon and that light is blinding. You can't ignore it, but you can choose not to answer it. Okay? So again, hi honey, how are you doing? I hope it's doing. Again, creator had me come on in reference to twin flames. Don't know why, but somebody has to hear this. I gotta get back to work, guys. I gotta make some money. YouTube doesn't pay me, for those who don't know. I'm not that far up on the food chain. Does not pay me as of yet, although I enjoy speaking to you all and bringing y'all information and topics and tarot and travel. Oh my gosh, I just saw some classic cars, by the way. So this weekend, I'm hoping to be able to film them if they're still there. They're gorgeous. I can't wait to bring that to you. But back for nightcap tonight, and that is our nightly reading. But if I am, great, I'll see you then. And if I'm not, you guys take care, and thank you so much for dropping by and visiting. I can't even talk. Oh my god. I don't even know what I was gonna say, but something interrupted me. Gypsy Roots Tarot Travel. Much light and love to you. Bye guys.